Hey guys, this is Rob Quinn of Building the Herd. I'm back again with Rich Fann of BuffaloWins.com. This is the second edition of our little film room session that we're having. We appreciate all the feedback on our first one where we highlighted Reggie Ragland. Today we're going to take a look at the Bills' first-round pick, Shaq Lawson, the edge rusher out of Clemson. He will miss some time due to a shoulder surgery that he suffered during practice or a workout. He was dealing with it in college. So we thought it would be a good idea to look at the national championship game first against Alabama that he played with that shoulder injury and was actually pretty productive. So, Rich, what do you think about Shaq Lawson and his fit as well in the context of the shoulder as well?
I think with a 5-year contract, I'm assuming he's going to play well enough to earn that 5th year. With a 5-year contract, it's a good investment. He plays a lot similar to me as Terrell Suggs when he was at Arizona State and then going into the Ravens. 6'3", 270. As you'll see in the video, he plays a lot of outside linebacker standing up in addition to a little bit of end standing up in addition to three-point stance end. So him playing across the formation for Clemson, like Rex mentioned in the press conference, is going to mirror what he'd do for the Bills. So I think he fits perfectly, especially given what Rex wants him to do.
Yeah, that's my thoughts exactly. I know there was a lot of outrage over the injury and that they're not going to be able to get him on the field for game one. But, you know, a player of this talent that you'll see, especially in the first 2 games that we're going to watch, Alabama and Notre Dame. Alabama's left tackle, Cam Robinson, is projected to be a top 5 pick. This was before his off-the-field issues. But that being said, then he went against Ronnie Stanley, and that was another matchup that was very good. Like you said, he reminds me a lot of Suggs, that 6'3", 270-pound kind of squatty, big frame, but he's really athletic, versatile, can line up anywhere. So I think he's a great fit for the Bills, and once he gets on the field, the fans will forget all about the time that he missed.
Absolutely. And I think as people take a look, he starts out here. Like Rob mentioned, we're going to start with a game where he already has the shoulder harness in, so you can see how it hindered him or didn't hinder him, depending on the opponent he's going up against, and how important it is for him in his position to get this taken care of now. I know I read an article in the Buffalo News where they talked about how he re-injured the shoulder doing a bag drill. And to be honest, I'd rather him get the surgery and get that taken care of now, regardless of what the Bills said or didn't say or shouldn't have said, because in the long term, he's going to be banging a lot to do what he needs to do to be effective both against the run and the pass. I know last year a lot of complaints were made about Mario with effort. I'm not going to say this guy is going to cure everything that Mario didn't necessarily do, but in terms of the responsibilities Mario did do, you see he's keeping his outside shoulder, even though he's got 80% of the national championship. To have Shaq Lawson in there with a bad arm at 80% of the snaps would have been a recipe for either a worse injury or for the Bills to have an ineffectual rookie. Now the next thing, which is unfortunate, he's in the neutral zone. This is something that gets repeated a lot with Shaq. That's going to be something that they're definitely going to want to work with him. Coach Blake is going to have to get him on the same page as far as where to line up, when to line up, and how not to line up.
His foot's then right in line with the ball right there, so can't have that happen. And it happens multiple times in this game. So here he is against the H-back, running up the gut. He's in a 4-point stance.
Now you see he's going through it. H-back again. A little bit of help from 16, but at this point the damage is done.
He's over the line of scrimmage again.
And they're running away from him. One of the things you'll notice a lot of teams did was if you run away from Shaq and then you boot toward him, you're giving your line the best chance at stopping him. You see here he drops back.
There he is. He drops. Makes Coker look away.
You see they have the jet motion toward him, running away from him, kind of keep him in a bind. He's in the neutral zone again.
Oh.
This is just a grown man run, and Mr. Curse does not finish the job. Now you have tackle's a little itchy, wants to stop him.
They see already, it's still the first quarter, and you see them all over the place. 4-point stance, 3-point stance, 2-point stance, inside, outside. That's just, they move them all over the place. Here he goes, the wide rush, and O.J. Howard, first big play of the game.
You see it's a quick play. Quarterback gets stuck in no man's land, and Mr.
It's like a run pass option there. He plays his contained assignment and chases it down.
And again, this is doing simple stuff. And as much as people note the shoulder, notice how laterally agile he is, even with the knee brace he has on. That's just, again, we talk about this a lot. The secondary has to do a better job. There's only so many things you can do. When you're looking at a game like this, and look at this tackle for loss, you got to realize his job in addition to the job of the defense on the whole.
Yeah, he's a C-gap player here. So he's going to read that and then come help out Dowd on the other side. Now you got Henry. Oh, see, there's those hands again. I was talking about fighting to get off the block of Cam Robinson.
You can see he's got that one hand. Robinson's trying to get cute, posting up, can't do it. You see him
in coverage again, picking up. That's our Darius Stewart. Oh no, Calvin Ridley, one of the fastest receivers in the NCAA. Tough assignment there.
That's a tough play for him. You see he's got to kind of go through the trash. One of the plays he would make, as you'll see later, when he's healthy and he has usage of both arms fully. But with the shoulder the way it was and the shot he had to take and all that good stuff to get ready for this game, he's human. You see the drop, you see the spin move, not much to bounce off it, because you'll notice once he does the spin move, and you'll see this later in the other games, when he can do the spin move and then use that other arm to rip through, he's pretty dangerous. With the shoulder the way it is late in the season, he can't really do that much. He kind of just runs into the player.
We're at the goal line, getting in on the action.
Touchdown.
Nothing he could do there.
First and 10. Gets a piece, can't really bring him down, but the team helps out. Team defense. Two-point again, fighting with the tackle.
There he is, using those hands.
And he gets the
Gets
sack.
a wide rush against Cam. Uses his arms to separate, keep extension, where he can kind of shut off that block and then just close the ground on Coker. Does the same thing again, and Coker rolls out.
Yeah, and he's smart enough to kind of realize he's got to downshift a little bit. He's not going to get there, but he still wants to make sure he covers that flat.
Mm-hmm.
Screen. Again, screening away from him, not much you can do. You got the back, you got the tackle, and no coverage. I mean, he did his job. If you give him, you know, some defensive help with the secondary, maybe that's a sack instead of a wide open touchdown. His partner in crime gets the sack. And you can tell at the end, Robinson knows he lost that one because he's just staring at him and just in disbelief. Because you have a pulling lineman. Oh no, you have a lineman that's trying to cut because he got tripped up, and now you got two guys hurt in one play. Up the field, up the field, up the field. His partner in crime's got to the quarterback and whiplashes his tackle into the left tackle.
There he is holding that gap again.
Good run stop there. They're running away from him. 2 points for that tackle there by the lineman on a Dodd. Outside in. Helps set the edge.
Now here he's got the tight end, the running back, schemed away from him.
He's got a triple team right here. He's got the tight end, the left tackle, and the running back trying to stop him.
And this isn't a knock on Kevin Dodd, but you see the attention they're giving to Shaq here. And this was Kevin Dodd's kind of coming out party that really put him on a lot of draft analysts' radar. A lot of it, they had a tight end, a back, a pulling guard, and it really made things easy for Dodd in this game. Just from Shaq commanding the attention, even with that shoulder. Here he is dropping again.
And you know, the one thing
Alabama really did everything they could to try to make Shaq as limited as possible in this game. He's running away from him, Coker with the rollouts, the quick screens, the extra help.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin did a masterful job with this because you saw early in the game they were having issues. Even now, I mean, you're looking at these plays, secondary. You just need to match them a little bit.
Yep, Shaq standing them up, getting off. That's his bread and butter. That's stack and shed ability. And you think this is with the shoulder injury, the last game he played in his collegiate career. So anyone angry at the pick for playing with a shoulder injury, this is a game that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely, because this screams pro-style offense. This isn't, you know, no offense, you know, someone's going to say quote-unquote gimmicky with a lot of college offenses. But this is a pro, 2-back, 1-back. They're going to pull guys. They're going to try to mess you up man on man. This is just, again, secondary breakdown. How much can you do? And if you take a look, the biggest issue I have, not necessarily, I don't know whose fault it is, but with this stunt, when you see the touchdown again, you're going to notice that Shaq goes for a twist, but then his tackle doesn't twist out until it's too late, and you give a perfect window to see that wheel route, followed up with the tight end wide open deep.
Yeah, they run into each other. There's no defenders there to even get a hand in his face, and it's a pitch and catch.
Again, backside, not much you can do there. You can kind of see, I'm going to back this one up, kind of show you guys. You can kind of see as effective as he was, you can see that arm, the way he's hanging it. It's at this point, it's the fourth quarter. It's 4 minutes left in the game. He's got to be running on empty, and that arm's got to be killing him. And as much as the Bills, you know, for PR purposes, said what they said, did what they did, etc., you got to think for the purposes of his long-term longevity, his health, making that decision is so much more helpful. Because I'll tell you, if he tried to tough this out and against the Ravens, he catches a bad block and all of a sudden he's out for 15 weeks, then we're asking why they didn't take care of it.
Yeah, it's a catch-22, but you miss 6-8 weeks in your rookie year and you're good to go. I'd take that over the injury and the why didn't you get it cleaned up sooner, all that big fiasco. So see what he's doing with the shoulder. Can't wait to see what he does without it.
And again, got the triple
double team, another rollout.
Getting the first down. At this point, this is the dying breaths of the game. Trying to force a 4th down stand, trying to get him a chance to get the ball back. And, it's tough. But you like the fight. You like the fact that he's still fighting. My hope would be, especially at the end of this, that Shaq is in a position where by the time he gets in, we can start seeing him used a little more on the interior, because that'd be a good sign that his shoulder's good to go.
Yeah, I know we talked about Terrell Suggs, but I also think he's got a little bit of Michael Bennett to him, in that they're 6'3", 270, kind of heavily built in their lower body and their torso area, where they can move inside and outside and really be an athletic force up and down the line of scrimmage. So it'll be interesting to see how he's used once he's fully healthy.
Absolutely. And I think our next game, when we look at Notre Dame, that'll be a good opportunity for the fans to see how he does healthy against a premier tackle and the difference in what he does.
Good show. Even with the shoulder, he still was penetrating the backfield, setting the edge against the run, doing everything you really want out of a guy. So, that was his last game. The Bills are confident enough to take him with that shoulder injury, and I think they're a better team for it. So now let's see how he does against Ronnie Stanley, Notre Dame's left tackle, in an offense that uses a lot of spread, some option, and how he fares against the number 6 overall pick.
Let's get this going. You see the shoulder, no harness. So far, so good. More of the same. More of 2-point stance in this game so far.
Just power right there. Just blows up the puller. Gang tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
Now you got an exotic look here. 3-man rush.
There's that spin move. Get off. Oh, Kaiser, he's too quick.
Yeah, this got a little.
This is going to be fun.
Little late off the snap on this one. There you go.
Getting that extension, separate, make the tackle.
A little drop.
Trying to wham him. He avoids that. Another tackle for loss. Led the nation with 25.5 last year. Those are big impact plays.
And that's his guard's got to do a better job of looking for that.
Yeah. He's just running to space. And
again, you got to be careful. I'm gonna highlight this real quick. Line of scrimmage is here. His hands here.
Yeah, that's NFL refs are gonna call that one.
Yeah, and that's where the Bills are gonna have to trust their D-line coach to kind of get on him to be a lot more disciplined with that, especially coming into the season. Assuming he gets in week 8, week 9, week 10, they're not going to be able to have the luxury of walking him through not going offside.
Yeah.
Doing his job, keeping it simple. And these are going to be some simple again
over the line of scrimmage.
And as much as Bills fans complain sometimes with Jerry Hughes jumping, if you have him already in the line of scrimmage, in the neutral zone, that's not going to be a good thing.
There was a 5-tech, crashes down, lets the blitz go, but Kaiser, again, just too athletic, gets out of the pocket. Squeezes through there somehow.
Yeah. And that's tough because...
And that's no fault of Shaq. I mean, he opened that right up for him.
Yeah, his 44 should have kept outside leverage. He tries to take the cheese, can't finish the job, and off the quarterback goes.
Yeah. The guard can't locate him when he's pulling.
They do a little pull with the wing. Wing doesn't really match up well against Shaq. This is a similar play, actually, to what they did against Alabama. Only difference is Alabama's tight end did a lot more damage to Shaq in those plays.
Uh-huh.
And again, you're seeing so far in this game, just like with the prior game, he's done a lot of work there on the right end position. With Jerry Hughes already entrenched as the pass rusher of the team, he's going to have to do a little more left end. He's going to have to do a little more Sam or Will linebacker if he, well, not Will, but Sam and Jack.
Yeah, we saw towards the end of the season, Hughes was moved around a little bit, but like you said, Hughes has made a living from the right side since he's been here, and I don't think they're moving him for Shaq just yet, at least. Plus, you kind of want him on that strong side where the tight end usually is, just given his body type.
Right. There's Dodd taking care of business after Shaq got it started. Quick drop.
Coverage.
Collision. There you go. That's what you need to see. Collision in the low crosser. They should probably have done a better job with secondary coverage in the back end, but again, that's not our problem. Walking back, Stanley.
Fighting again. Violent hands.
Spin move. You can see the difference in the spin move with that shoulder.
Just embarrasses Stanley. They got to tackle him. It's a hold.
And that, to me, is the key. You saw it against Alabama when he did the spin move. He really kind of had a dead arm. Now he could use that same arm to swim past after he spun, and he's getting tackled by the guard and tackle. Two-point collision, get to the flat. Push, push, push.
Oh, got a little pancake there.
Hey, Kerr's made a play. Yeah, that's going to be on his highlight reel. Stanley's going to say, hey, look what I did to a first-round pick.
Right after tackling them. This was a fun matchup to watch, though. Because this is the type of talent that Lawson's going to see, so it's good to see him get some wins and really work against Stanley.
Yeah, that was a good job neutralizing him, but then they come back around and he almost gets him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a good boxing match. Punch, counter punch. What do you have? And thankfully the receivers aren't getting open, or at least the quarterback's not getting into a spot they can catch it. Now you see he's moved in a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be a blitz or a stunt usually.
There it comes.
Yep. Guys gets the ball out quick.
This game, if anything, as they show this replay, you got to keep in mind, no offense to our Notre Dame friends who watch this, Tom Brady's going to complete this.
You got two guys wide open there.
Yeah. So you need to make sure the pressure's getting home, and you need to make sure your secondary is doing their end of the job. With Gilmore and Darby, I'm not worried about it. Ooh. Hey, there's a fumble. Look at that. 2 plays in a game for Curse. Now you know he's kind of conserving his energy, kind of getting handled a little bit by that tight end. You know, 6 of one, half dozen of the other, depending on what side of the coin you want to look at it.
But he's taking 2 guys the whole game. There he is inside. They're not even giving him a chance in the passing game, getting the ball out quick. Oh.
Yeah. Little pressure, simple passes for the quarterback. Let the guys get some run after the catch, because obviously the deeper passes haven't been their game.
But even here, look at the attention he commands.
Yeah, he's got the guard, he's got the tackle, and even then, they're still banging on him. Now they're so worried about him. No, I'm going to put that on the offense. They tried to get cute, wound up paying for it. Again, the guard misses completely on the pull. Collision, low crosser. Trail him. Quarterback's trying to get away, no dice. There's the mistake.
There's the tight end on him. Lowers his head.
Look at him retracing his steps, going back to his pursuit angle. Snap of the ball. Read it. Oof. Again, 1 out of 11. You need all 11, like Rex keeps preaching.
There you go. They left that hole in the middle open up.
I mean, I hope my JV kids can make a catch like that. You're wide open up the sideline. He's getting handled by the tight end there. That's tough.
Yeah, you gotta wonder how that guy's open. There was Clemson had a lot of secondary issues. As good as Mackenzie Alexander with their safeties, broke down a lot. Seems like he's trying to get a little wide on him now.
Chop.
Force him and keep him inside the pocket. Oh, there he escapes again.
There's the fumble.
Oh.
And you got to pay attention to the scoreboard. 24-9, 10 minutes left. At this point, they're just trying to make sure they don't shoot themselves in the foot, but Notre Dame started to catch the passes they were dropping earlier in the game. Now you got the snap. He goes inside with the stunt. They're compressing the pocket so the quarterback can't scramble. Now it's just the quarterback's a little bit more of an athlete. And that's, again, where you got to project it for the Bills.
When you're getting home against a Tom Brady, that's a sack, but against a guy like Kaiser, it's 20 yards or a touchdown.
Right. Tannehill, it might be dealer's choice. You never know. Fitzpatrick, he's probably running out of that. But, you know, you got to know your division. If it's Geno, maybe he's running into the sack. The spin move. He actually spun himself out of the sack. If he stays wide.
Yeah, Kaiser slid right by.
Now he's carrying the wheel. This is, when we talked during the Building the Herd series, one of the things I tried to pay attention to when you assigned me players was to keep track of who could carry a wheel route, because that's the Tom Brady special. If he could find that wheel, now obviously in this play, they went away from it, but you can believe if that was Tom Brady or any qualified NFL quarterback, and you see a defensive end versus a running back on a wheel, you're throwing that all day.
All day, yeah.
But he did it. He stayed flat, stayed to his angle. The only thing here, you had Dot on a crossing route. God bless him. Now he's learned his lesson. He's staying wide, but keeping it simple with the throws. 3 minutes left in the game. Need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Quick screen. Again, secondary, where are you?
Goodson got eaten up by that guard.
2 minutes. Again, that should have been a touchdown right there. The secondary had an atrocious game. Ooh. Fumble, saved by the bell yet again.
J-Ron.
This is the game, I'm sure. Some executive had this in his DVD player and showed his scouts, this is why we need to draft this guy, and pointed to J-Ron Curse.
This is the one game he wasn't standing with his hands on his hips the whole time.
Or
he lucked into 2 fumble recoveries in this game. I was just we got a 3rd and long.
3rd and 16. Push, push, push.
Stanley Holton.
1st down. Again, you got 8 points. Watch those hands. You got to stay out off the. He was close there. I wouldn't say he was offside, but he was close. 12 seconds in the game. If they're dumb enough. Oh, that's the Stevie Johnson right there.
Yep, just shake and bake.
And now you got the keep. And there you go. So ultimately, we saw in that game, he was a guy where he dealt with things without the shoulder injury. He was pretty smooth. And the final game I brought up for Rob and I to look at is Florida State, where he kind of not only went up against a premier opponent in the ACC, but he got to push him around a little bit. And I think that's one of the few things we hadn't seen so far in this. We've seen him struggle with the injury and kind of show himself well. We've seen him going up against a defense where he kind of went 50-50. And now this is a game where he kind of gets to be the big dog.
Just crashing.
Yeah, he didn't anticipate getting past both of those guys that quickly.
Offsides right there again. So that's going to be an issue to watch.
Yeah. Oh.
Goodbye.
Mackenzie Alexander was not in the mood. Yep. And they got the offside. They let the touchdown stand. Guard and the tight end, wrong arm. That's a beautiful play that won't get noticed because you had a 30-yard run. But if you see the work you put in, and they're going to show it to us from the end zone camera, that's a selfless play. Very few linemen like the idea of giving your body up on a pull-in guard to let the linebacker or someone behind you make it, but he does it without hesitation.
That's just nice power right there.
Oof. Now
Shaq even knew it was coming. You saw him duck down.
Yeah, and you'd hope someone's there to kind of make that beautiful play work, but unfortunately, no dice. You see he's going inside out, then no dice. They got double teams going. He's kind of flirting the line with being offsides again. Four-point. He's ready to stop that run. Now he's he definitely, I mean, he got the interception, but he took note of that. You'll see later in the game, he definitely took note of that cut. And he wanted to make sure that guy paid for it later. You'll see it, I want to say in the 3rd quarter. Another
run. They're whamming them all game.
This is when the injury
gets his shoulder, right?
and you can see what happens. He gives it up, and then he lands on it. And since he's been playing with his injury since freshman year, he kind of sucked it up. But, you know, getting it cleaned up now, like I said before, best thing to happen to him.
Another wham, another run.
And you see the start of the Bionic Man with that arm again. And he's fatigued, too, because he's giving a lot up. He's still trying to stop the run. The shoulder's still bothering him. But he's not going to, one, he's not going to come out of the game because he realizes the importance of it. And two, he still wants a little get back for 77.
Yeah, he's a tough kid.
Yeah. And that's one thing I think Rex is going to appreciate. When it's fourth quarter, December, you're going up against the Jets, they're running it down your throat, up 3 points, and you're trying to get the ball back.
Good, what a play. That fakes him out with the head.
Little razzle dazzle. They are forever cutting this dude. I mean, you could listen to Bruce Smith talk about it. One of the worst things you can do to an end is cut him like that, even if it's away from the play. If it's like a pass play, they expect it. But if it's away from the play and you're cutting,
yeah,
they hate it. Hate it.
Squeezing through again. Hand use again, using his arms, his length, and his hands to just get through.
Now you're fighting through a tackle, fighting through a back. Quarterback almost arm punts it. They tried to get cute with him.
He holds up the edge. That's the linebacker, Phil.
3rd and 31. Know the situation. It's going to be a draw, going to be a screen. The tackle just enough. That's just enough. And you got your flag. Or do you? Nope. Lucky. And you see, 77's starting to have some issues with him, even with one arm.
That's what you notice about Shaq in these games that you watch. He kind of feels out the tackle to see what's going to win and what's going to not. And then as the game goes on, he'll start setting up moves and start embarrassing them.
And I think Blake will be very instructive for him as far as, even while he's injured, hopefully he's able to kind of sit around and talk with him and look over film and see things he can do, get mental reps.
Absolutely. Just watch what kind of stance the tackle's getting into. What are they going to do if you do this to him?
Spin move. Only thing messed up that spin move that prevented the sack was losing his footing. Hey, Curse got his nose dirty. God bless. 3rd and short. Nope, not happening. And you see him. 77 gets him out of the way, but the rest of the team plays, team football, gets in there, gang tackle. Now the tight end's looking for him. You can see when the tight end, let me back this up. The tight end gives it away because in his shift, he's looking right at him.
Yeah, he just pushes him aside.
And you're supposed to have good eye discipline, just like we talk about with quarterbacks. If you're pulling, or if you're the guy supposed to get a block off, you got to have good eye discipline. Or if they see you're coming, you're going to get eaten for lunch. He's kind of, just like his predecessor in terms of the Bills' third string tight end. Because you're a smaller guy, you're more of an H-back, and going up against a guy like Shaq, that's not going to be a good time if he knows you're going to try to chip him.
Oh yeah, or O'Leary, yeah.
Second and 20, dropping back. They kind of get away with one there. 3rd and 20. Again, good Lord. 42. Almost got him. Wilkins, my God. Get inside, set up for the blitz. And I think we should take this time too, as everyone's looking. This isn't, thanks to Draft Breakdown and their people at Milla or Biff Milla for putting this stuff up for everyone's education. This isn't going to be the music video version of Shaq where you see every other play as a sack. In Rex's defense, we've discussed, we've written about at length, the idea of there's going to be some times where you have 3 or 4 top pass rushers, but only one guy has 10 sacks. And Shaq might not get in his rookie year. I'm not anticipating him getting double-digit sacks. I think, especially coming in halfway through, 5.5, I'd be happy with it. I'm going to be more inclined to see how he does against the run, how well he plays if he does drop, and how well he interacts on those blitzes and those twists, because those are going to make or break a Rex Ryan defense.
Yeah, and I think I was looking back at Rex's defensive stats since he became a coordinator in 2005 with the Ravens, and I believe he's only had like 3 or 4 players hit that 10-sack mark. So it's really, like you said, an 11-man project here where everyone's got to do their job, and maybe you're not going to get those huge numbers, which are all a piece of the puzzle.
Right. Like if I were a betting man, I'd say because of the longevity and injuries notwithstanding, Hughes would be the guy I'd bet to get 10. And then I'd assume we did Reggie last week. Reggie probably gets 3 or 4. And then whomever he uses as that second guy until Shaq's ready. If it's IK and a combination of IK and Manny, between the two of them, I'd expect 7 sacks. And then the rest, if he finds that defensive back that can blitz, let's say it's a Nickel Roby, let's say it's Aaron, whoever you can trust to be that dependable blitzer, then we'll see them with 4 or 5. But anything else, it's going to be gravy.
Yeah, I was actually going back and watching that something on I was watching Aaron Williams' first 3 games just to see what they were missing after he got hurt, and he was the guy that when Ed Reed and Rex are talking about communication in the back end, they missed a lot with Aaron Williams, not just his skill level, just telling guys where to be. Darby's first interception, you see Williams yelling at him to put him in the spot because it was a switch route. So he let him know what to do and picked it off. So that'll be huge going forward too.
Now this is the one play, and this is going to be the last play we see for these games. I want to highlight. It'll come up after this 4th down. This was the scariest play I think in 7 or 8 games I watched when we were scouting him, because as much as people talk about Shaq's shoulder, if the tackle keeps up with these cuts, we probably are looking at Shaq as a 2nd, 3rd, 4th round pick because his knee's getting blown out. Take a look. It's the play after this. When he does a spin move, and at the same time, the tackle's cutting him. And God help him, I don't know how he got out of this without getting a knee blown out.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's away from the play. This is a cut where he doesn't have to worry about the throw coming his way. He's just doing it because it's easier than blocking this guy.
Blocking him. Yeah.
So as you guys see, he there by the grace of God goes him becoming the next, he could have been any of the other linebackers or defensive players we talked about in this draft that had a horrific injury and went from a 1st rounder to a 2nd, 3rd, 4th rounder or worse.
Yeah, and I think those 3 games really showed off all the aspects that we're going to see. We saw him drop into coverage, something that Bills fans kind of complained about with Mario and Hughes, but that's a staple of Rex Ryan's defense is those zone blitzes. We saw him set the edge against the run, play some contain against the option offenses, saw him get after the passer with a variety of moves. We saw him with the bull rush, the spin move, rushing outside, moving inside, playing different techniques. So I really think that those 3 games were good highlights of what we can expect when he gets back on the field and healthy.
Absolutely. I think one of the things I'm going to be very encouraged by looking at, or very interested in looking at, is when he does come back, how many times he plays left end, left outside linebacker, and he starts to set that edge with the shoulder he just got surgery on, because that'll go a long way towards him having confidence in it and being a versatile weapon in Rex's scheme.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see in his rookie year, but because you really don't know how much is going to be put on his plate. But going forward, we saw the skills that he has, and he can play all the way inside from a 3 technique defensive tackle all the way to the outside linebacker. So I could see why they drafted him. I could see why they took the quote-unquote risk with the injury, and I just don't see the pessimism after you see what he did against the Alabama game.
Yeah, same with me. I was very happy he was there. I was shocked he was there, to be honest, and I'm hopeful that in the future, like I said, these are, when we did mock drafts and we did the Building a Herd podcast, I talked about the possibility of bringing in one of the other injured linebackers, what was it? It was Jalen Smith.
Yeah, with the Cowboys.
Right. I said, if he was there, I'd be happy if they took the risk on him, because it's a 5-year contract. To have a guy like Shaq Lawson, same thing. It's a 5-year contract. Most guys, if at the end of this we get 40 sacks over 5 years and him doing his job, mission accomplished. Look at the Bills' history of defensive ends, pass rushers outside of the free agent Mario and trade in terms of Jerry Hughes, and you have Aaron Schobel and Chris Kelsey. And Schobel was a monster for about 6-7 years, but Kelsey, if he equals Kelsey's numbers and he does a little better against the run than Kelsey did, I don't see that as a bad thing. I know some Bills fans are probably rolling their eyes, but when you look at what Kelsey did, he didn't have that many sacks. So if he can get 40, 50 sacks and do as well as Kelsey did, maybe better against the run, that's good enough for me.
I have a little bit higher expectations than better Chris Kelsey, but this was one of my favorite players in the draft, and I think that he could be a superstar in this league. Maybe he's not like you said, maybe not the stats just because of Rex's system, but he certainly has the talent to be a dominant player. But I guess we'll wrap this up for today. We'll probably be looking at maybe Adolphus Washington next, maybe go into some of Rex's scheme, but we'll take any suggestions from you guys, and thanks for watching. Really appreciate the support, and we're glad to be able to do this.
All right, guys, have a good one, and definitely catch Rob at Building the Herd or at rquinn619. Catch me at r.deuce, DOTDEUCE, or you could visit my blog at Buffalo Wins, and we cover all sorts of stuff. Basically, anything that Rob misses from a scheme standpoint, we'll pick up. And it's a nice little family of blogs with Bills fandom as far as getting information out for you guys. So the more you can help us, the more we'll help you.